There was a man who once knelt down every single night and prayed for a miracle. He prayed for his business to survive. He prayed for his family to stop suffering. He prayed for the pain in his chest to disappear, the one that showed up every time he checked his empty bank account. He believed, with all his heart, that one day he would open his eyes and everything would simply be fixed. Months passed, then a year, and nothing changed. The miracle never came, but something else happened instead, something he never expected. One morning, exhausted from waiting, he stopped praying for the miracle to arrive and started asking himself a different question. What if the miracle was never meant to fall from the sky? What if it was meant to be built, brick by brick, by his own two hands? That single shift in thinking became the most powerful moment of his entire life. Because here is a truth that almost nobody tells you when you are desperate for things to change. Waiting for a miracle can quietly become the very thing that keeps you stuck. If you are watching this video right now, there is a good chance you are waiting for something too. Maybe you're waiting for the right opportunity to appear. Maybe you're waiting for someone to finally notice your effort. Maybe you're waiting for life to feel fair, just once, before you allow yourself to fully try. And somewhere along the way, without even realizing it, you may have started praying for a miracle instead of building one. I want you to sit with that for a second, because what I'm about to say will change how you look at every closed door in your life. Miracles are not things that happen to you. Miracles are things you become capable of creating the moment you stop asking for permission from the universe and start taking responsibility for your own outcome. This is not a video that tells you to sit and hope things get better. This is not empty positivity that fades the second reality hits you again. This is a mindset, a fire, that people who actually change their lives carry inside them. The people who build empires out of nothing, who turn heartbreak into purpose, who rise from rock bottom and never look back. They all have one thing in common. They stopped waiting. They stopped praying for luck to save them. And they started moving, like their own hands were the answer to their own prayers. Stay with me until the very end, because I am going to show you exactly why the world rewards builders, not waiters. Why your struggle right now might be the exact material your miracle is made from, and what you need to do starting today to become someone who doesn't wait for life to change, but forces it to. Let's talk about waiting first, because waiting feels safe, but waiting is quietly one of the most dangerous habits a person can develop. When you wait for a miracle, you hand over control of your life to something outside yourself. Luck, timing, other people's decisions, forces you cannot touch or influence. And the longer you wait, the more comfortable waiting becomes, until one day you wake up and realize years have passed while you were still hoping for permission to begin. Builders think differently. Builders understand that the world does not owe them anything, and instead of waiting for the door to open, they learn how to build their own door. This is not about ignoring faith or hope. This is about understanding that faith without action is just a wish, and hope without effort is just a daydream. The people who actually change their lives combine both. They hope for the best, but they work like everything depends on them, because in most cases, it does. Now here is something that will completely change how you see your current struggle. What if the very situation you are trying to escape right now is actually the raw material for your greatest transformation? Every person who has ever built something extraordinary started with almost nothing but pain and a decision. Think about it. Nobody builds resilience during comfortable, easy days. Resilience is built in the exact moments you wanted to quit, but didn't. Confidence is not something you're born with. It's sort of myth. It's something you earn every single time you do something you didn't not think you were capable of doing. So instead of asking, why is this happening to me? Start asking, what is this preparing me to become? That single question changes everything, because it turns you from a victim of your circumstances into the architect of your comeback. Let's talk about the difference between people who pray for miracles and people who make them, because this difference is everything. The person who prays for a miracle checks their phone every day hoping for good news to arrive out of nowhere. The person who makes a miracle sends 50 messages, knocks on 50 doors, and gets rejected 49 times, but keeps going anyway, because they know the 50th door might be the one that changes everything. The person who prays for a miracle says, "I hope things get better." The person who makes a miracle says, "I will make things better, even if it takes everything I have." Do you see the difference? One is passive, the other is powerful. One waits for the world to change around them. The other becomes the force that changes the world around them. I want you to understand something about failure too, because this is where most people give up, right before their miracle was about to happen. Failure is not the universe telling you to stop. Failure is often the exact price you must pay before you're allowed to succeed. Every person who eventually built the life of their dreams has a long list of failures behind them that nobody talks about. The rejected applications, the failed businesses, the relationships that fell apart, the plans that collapsed overnight. But they didn't see those failures as proof that they weren't meant for something greater. They saw them as tuition, as the cost of learning how to become someone capable of holding the life they wanted. If you give up right when things get hardest, you will never know how close you actually were. Sometimes the miracle you're waiting for is one more attempt away, hidden right behind the failure that made you want to quit. Here's something else that separates builders from waiters: the way they use their pain. Most people bury their pain, hide it, pretend it doesn't exist because it's too heavy to look at directly. But the ones who make their own miracles do something different. They let their pain become fuel. They take the heartbreak, the rejection, the humiliation, the sleepless nights, and instead of letting it break them, they use it to build something the world has never seen. Every scar becomes a reason to prove something. Every person who doubted them becomes a name they silently remember on the day they finally remember. Succeed. Pain, when directed correctly, becomes one of the most powerful forces a human being can use to create change. Let's also talk about the conversation happening inside your head, because your miracle will never survive if the voice in your mind keeps telling you it's impossible. Most people unconsciously sabotage their own success before they even start, because somewhere deep inside, they don't believe they deserve it. They say things to themselves they would never say to someone they love. You, not good enough. You'll fail like last time. Why even try? If you want to build your own miracle, you have to become the loudest, most stubborn voice in the room, even if that room is just your own mind. You have to learn to speak to yourself the way a coach speaks to a champion, moments before the biggest fight of their life. Not with empty comfort, but with unstoppable belief, backed by relentless effort. And here is the final piece of this, the part that ties everything together. Miracles built by your own hands hit differently than miracles you simply wished for. When you build something yourself, when you claw your way out of debt through discipline, when you rebuild trust through consistent effort, when you turn a broken dream into a working reality through nothing but stubborn persistence, that success becomes unshakable, because it is proof of what you are capable of, not proof of luck that could disappear as randomly as it arrived. Nobody can take away something you built with your own hands, your own sacrifice, your own refusal to quit. That is the real difference between hoping and creating. Hope can be taken away in an instant. What you build becomes a part of who you are forever. So here is what I want you to remember when you leave this video today. Stop praying for the storm to pass, and start learning how to walk through it. Stop waiting for someone to save you, and start becoming someone who saves themselves. Your current pain is not a punishment. It is the material your future strength is going to be built from. The version of you that you're praying to become already exists inside you right now, waiting for you to stop asking for permission and start taking action. Miracles are not gifts that fall from the sky for the lucky few. Miracles are built quietly, painfully, and relentlessly by ordinary people who simply refuse to give up on themselves. If this video reached you today, Do not let it be words you forget by tomorrow. Let it be the exact moment you stopped waiting and started building. Subscribe if you want more of this fire in your life, because there will be more days you need this reminder, and I will be here every single time. Comment right now with one word, build, as your promise to yourself that starting today, you are done praying for miracles and ready to start making them. Nobody is coming to save you, and that is not bad news. That is the best news you will hear all year, because it means the power was always inside you. Now go build your miracle.